Here's how to mix any vocal recorded through a Lewitt MTP5 microphone using only stock plugins. For this tutorial, I'll be using Logic Pro, but as long as you understand the concept, you can follow along with any recording software. Here we have two vocal tracks, one for singing and one for spoken word, because the process is pretty much the same. Our first plugin is a DEESSER, which is going to help tame some of those harsh S sounds, also known as sibilants. For the settings, threshold means at what point the DEESSER is going to turn on, and you want to set it in a way that the reduction only happens during the S sounds. Be careful not to bring it down too much, otherwise you will make the person sound like they have a lisp. Reduction, which means how much of a frequency we're going to cut, and I like to keep it under 10. At the bottom, I like to keep the settings on wide while using a bell curve, and of course, you get to choose which frequencies to attenuate. Typically, sibilance is going to be found anywhere from 4 to 6,000 Hz, and the easiest way to locate that frequency is just to pull up an EQ and pay attention to that frequency range as your track plays in the background. This is a sibilance test exaggerating the S's in the recording. To me, that was around 6,000 Hz. So now let's listen to the vocal track before and after applying the DEESSER. This is a sibilance test exaggerating the S's in the recording. This is a sibilance test exaggerating the S's in the recording. Our next plugin is Subtractive EQ. The whole goal here is to remove the unnecessary frequencies of the recording and to tame harshness. For starters, I like to use a high-pass filter around 80 Hz to remove low-end rumble from the recording, which is typically room noise, like an air conditioning system. Next, pay attention to the following frequencies. 200 Hz is the boxiness in a vocal. 300 to 400 Hz is where it can sound a bit honky. 1000 Hz is the nasally tone of the human voice, and 6,000 to 10,000 Hz is where most people will describe as harsh sounding. But just to clarify, I am not saying that you should cut these frequencies every single time, because everyone has a different voice. Instead, listen to your recording, and if something is standing out but you can't figure out what it is, pull up an EQ, grab any of the EQ bands, boost them up really high, and then sweep around as your track plays in the background. Keeping in mind that nothing is going to sound good boosted this much, but certain frequencies are going to stand out in a negative way, and those we're going to cut by about 3 decibels. You're listening to the Lewitt MTP5 microphone, and this is how it sounds. You're listening to the Lewitt MTP5 microphone, and this is how it sounds. What if I say I'm trying to save your love from dying? Baby, I'm too far gone. Next, we're going to use a compressor. This tool is going to help to minimize the dynamics in audio. Naturally, when you talk, and especially when you sing, you'll notice differences in volume in any recording. And what a compressor does is bring the loudest and quietest parts closer together, resulting in a much more consistent recording. And here are the settings you need to know. Threshold means at what point the compressor is going to turn on, and you want to set it in a way that your meter is hitting 3 to 5 decibels of reduction on average. Sometimes it can be more, sometimes it can be less, but on average, 3 to 5 decibels. Ratio, meaning how much compression will be applied. The higher the ratio, the more aggressive the compression. But for vocals, 3 to 1 or 4 to 1 are great starting points. Attack, meaning how fast the compressor is going to turn on, and I like to keep it at a fast setting of around 10 milliseconds. Release, which is how fast it's going to turn off. Again, I use a fast setting of around 40 milliseconds. In makeup gain, to ensure the track stays around the same volume as before applying compression. This is how the microphone sounds without any compression, and this is how it sounds with the compressor engaged. What if I say I'm trying to save your love from dying? Baby, I'm too far gone. What if I say I'm trying to save your love from dying? Baby, I'm too far gone. By the way, if you enjoy videos like this, then don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Next, we're going to use additive EQ. This time, we're going to boost certain frequencies to enhance the recording. If your vocal is sounding thin and lacking low end, then consider boosting around 100 Hz to add some bass to your voice. Also, if your vocal is sounding muffled or if it's not cutting through a mix, then consider using a high shelf boost around 10,000 Hz to add some brightness to your voice. This is how my voice sounds without any EQ, and this is how it sounds with the EQ turned on. What if I say I'm trying to save your love from dying? Baby, I'm too far gone. What if I say I'm trying to save your love from dying? Baby, I'm too far gone. If you're mainly recording spoken word applications, you can skip over to the before and after tests. But if you're recording singing vocals, our next plugin is Reverb. This effect can make you sound like you're in a completely different space. It could be a room, a hall, a stadium, you choose. But here's a pro tip. Instead of adding the effect straight onto your vocal track, instead send your vocal track to a bus. You can pick any bus, so I usually go with bus number 1. Then add your reverb effect to that bus, go back to your vocal track, and adjust how much of the reverb will be sent to your vocal. What if I say I'm trying to save your love from dying? Baby, I'm too far gone. This will save your computer a ton of processing power because let's say you're working with 50 vocal tracks, your computer doesn't have to process 50 reverbs. Instead, you can send all of your tracks to that one bus and your computer will only process it one time. So now let's compare the vocal tracks completely dry and then with all of the plugins. You're listening to the Lewitt MTP5 microphone without any processing. And now you're listening to the Lewitt MTP5 with all of the plugins engaged. What if I say I'm trying to save your love from dying? Baby, I'm too far gone. What if I say I'm trying to save your love from dying? Baby, I'm too far gone. And if you also want to learn my best tips for recording vocals, then go ahead and click right here, and I'll see you in the next video.